Closing date, your name will get registered on the title of the property. The realtor will be at the lawyer's office with you to deliver your keys to you, and congratulations on your purchase.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you guys breaking this down into 7 easy steps for everyone. What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here, and in today's video, we're going to demystify the entire mortgage qualifying process. Josh and Ehren from the Findlay Mortgage Team, they're going to break down for us the 7 steps in getting qualified and actually getting your mortgage. So if you're brand new to the idea of real estate investing, if you're still a little intimidated about mortgages or how to finance your property, this video is the video you've been waiting for. Smash the like button, hit subscribe if you're new here, and let's jump into it. What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here, and in today's video, we've got the Findlay team back. Hey, Josh and Ehren. And so they're going to be breaking down for us exactly a 7-step process to getting that mortgage approval. So I know everyone desperately wants to get a mortgage, but a lot of people don't know the right steps or process to doing that. So where should they start?
Agreed. Yeah, so there are a handful of steps that we take into account when trying to get you an approval. So we wanted to just break down in very simple terms what the steps are and the specifics for each individual step. That way, when you do your research on getting a mortgage, you can at least have some sort of expectation knowing what to expect in each step.
So the first step in the mortgage process is going to be the initial consultation with your mortgage agent or broker. This step is super important because it allows us to get a sense for where you are financially and what your goals are going to be down the road. It's usually about a 30-minute meeting, and in that first little 30 minutes, we can be determined whether or not you're going to meet the criteria to be able to move forward with the application process and getting a pre-approval and the full approval, or whether we may need to look at paying down some debt and rehabilitating your credit to be able to get you into the position that you want to be in to move forward with your mortgage application process.
All right, guys, the second step is the approval request. So in this specific stage, we're going to look at taking an application. So our application is online, and it automatically requests documents based off of the information that you give us. So this specific step is going to allow us to take a full assessment of your personal credentials. So we're going to look at who you are as a person, your current financial situation, your debt load, and if it's actually going to work out. So this is like the document creation or document collection step. This is where all the heavy lifting is going to happen for you guys. So once you guys get this done, the heavy lifting comes to us, and then we can do our job. But it's important to make sure that in this stage that you guys get us the proper documents and you make sure they're complete documents. And we use something where it'll automatically create a PDF for us, so we don't have to worry about clicking JPEGs or something like that. It automatically just comes to us in a nice, perfect way.
Yeah, I love the fact that you guys use that online portal, because I know so many investors struggle to get the right information to their mortgage agents, right?
And nothing's worse than chasing down emails trying to figure out whether you've sent documents or not. And it's frustrating on our parts, and we know it's frustrating when we have to come back to you guys and ask you for documents and you think you may have already sent them. So using the portal is a great tool.
One of the important parts of this process is credit consent. So this is where we're going to actually get your consent to pull your credit. It's important to note that nobody can pull your credit without your consent. So if a mortgage agent's out there who pulls your credit without it, that is a problem. You need to make sure that they're having consent signed before you pull a hard credit check.
Absolutely. So moving on to step number 3. Step number 3 is the pre-approval process. So after we've taken your application and it's all submitted, we will verify all your income with your tax documents, make sure we're using the right underwriting guidelines from the lender to making sure we're using the right amount of income. Once we've done the underwriting, we'll take a look at, like I said, your income, your credit score, and what your monthly debt loads are. Once we've done that and we have the complete application from our behalf, we will submit that into the lender for a pre-approval. So a pre-approval gives you a couple things. One, it gives you a 120-day rate lock on a rate that you're going to be able to use moving forward with your purchase or your search for a property. Now, the rate that they're going to give you on the pre-approval is a little bit higher than what your actual rate is going to be, but they do allow for a little bit of a buffer. But the important part is that you're getting that rate locked in for 4 months. Then getting that pre-approval for timeline expectations usually takes about a day or two. Depending on what type of the season we're in or which lender we're going to, sometimes the underwriters are a little bit more busy, so it could take an extra day, but usually turnaround times for a pre-approval is about a day or two.
Yeah, so important to note also that before COVID, there were a few lenders out there who were fully underwriting pre-approvals. It's now on your mortgage broker to be able to do that, so make sure you're sending them the documentation so that they can actually review all of your documents up front, so that the pre-approval process is a verified document. That way, I could give you a pre-approval and it could be worth nothing if I don't look at your documents. So it's really important that your mortgage broker or professional takes a look at your documents before getting that that specific document.
Yeah, and that just to touch on that quick, the underwriting ahead of time is important because we've heard a lot of horror stories from other buyers who have said that they had a pre-approval and they went out and looked at a nice big house, and then turns out that they weren't qualified for anywhere near that purchase price. So making sure that initial pre-approval is fully underwritten to begin with, make sure there's less disappointment and errors down the road when you come time to actually purchasing a property.
Step number 4 is the full approval. So this is the real deal. This is when you have a purchase agreement in place. What's going to happen is once you have that purchase agreement signed, your either real estate agent or yourself is going to send us the MLS and the APS. Now, if it's an off-market property, just the MLS or just the APS. This is when we kind of put the actual real deal information into our underwriting system and cross-reference it with the information that we already have on file. And this is where we will start to decide what lender we're going to go to, what product is right for you, and we start really figuring out the rate and the product, and this is where everything kind of comes together. So usually what's going to happen is when you're in this stage, you have something called a notice of fulfillment, and most people have a financing condition in place. So obviously, we underwrite everything up front, so we try to minimize the financing condition, but this is where we're going to go from not having a solid approval to having a solid commitment on paper.
And then there's 4 little legs that we use for the full approval. One is the income, your credit, your down payment, and the property itself. So making sure everything detail-wise from those 4 pillars meets and has been underwritten properly for the lender's guidelines to be able to move forward with a smooth transaction.
Usually this process takes roughly 24 to 48 hours for a lender to get back to us. COVID and high times has caused it around 72 hours, depending on obviously how busy they are and how fast, and the bank, and how inundated they are with files. But we're finding it taking a little bit longer now for them to get back to us with an approval.
Right.
So step number 5 is the conditional commitment process. So after we've received the full approval from the lender, they're going to issue a conditional commitment. This commitment's going to have 2 sets of conditions that's going to need to be met. The first one is the broker condition. So that is all the conditions that we're responsible for. So uploading of the purchase and sale agreement, the MLS listing, the mortgage closing package, and all of the income verification docs. The other set of conditions that's going to be on the commitment is going to be the the lawyer conditions or the solicitor conditions. And those conditions typically revolve around insurance policies and making sure that you're not on any other titles other than the properties that you've stated on the application. So, it's some important processes that we had to go through to meet that conditions. And it is important to understand that that commitment, is subject to meeting those conditions. Even though you do get the commitment, if we aren't able to meet them, the lender does have the right to back out of that transaction.
So next step is pre-closing. This is about 7 to 10 days before your closing date. Your lawyer is going to get in touch with you. You're going to go sign the actual documents. And so a lot of people don't know this, but the documents you sign with your mortgage broker are tertiary documents. They can be changed. They're kind of moldable in case something is to change or something happens. The ones you sign at your lawyer's office are hard documents. These are the final documents you're signing. So you're going to do that. You're going to sign documents with them. They're going to go over all the conditions that they have, as Ehren just said. And then once all their conditions are fulfilled, they will send all of their information they need to the lender. The lender will be like, yep, we're good. And they do something called instructing. So when they instruct a lender, a solicitor, they will give them basically all the information they need to close your document. And then when it comes to closing day is the next step.
So closing. The closing is exactly that. You're closing on the mortgage and on the financing. It's important up until the closing time that nothing changes within your employment or your financing or your credit, because up until that final day, the lender does still have the right to be able to pull out. So if you were considering a change in job, make sure, we've had some bad stories where, people have been considering a job change and all of a sudden in the middle of the mortgage process, they change their jobs and they're on probation. Well, that no longer satisfies the lender's conditions, so that can cause some problems moving forward. But the closing date, your name will get registered on the title of the property. The realtor will be at the lawyer's office with you to deliver your keys to you, and congratulations on your purchase.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you guys breaking this down into 7 easy steps for everyone. As always, we're going to throw a link to both Josh and Aaron's contact information in the video description down below. So jump over, jump on a call. You guys are always happy to chat and easily available. So again, really appreciate the Findlay team for just really breaking down for us and demystifying the financing process. Thanks again to Josh and Aaron for breaking down in such simple steps the 7-step process when it comes to qualifying and getting your mortgage. But if you've got any questions about this subject matter and you watch this video live because you're on my notification squad, click right now, jump over to their YouTube channel, the Findlay Mortgage Team channel, and you can watch them answer questions live. You can jump in there in the comments and they'll answer your questions as well. This is a really unique integration. If you guys are enjoying this idea of the guys going live every single Friday after we drop a YouTube video, let us know, give us your support in that comment section down below, and a link to all their contact information as always in the video description. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you in the next video.